You know, for people of a certain age, we can tell you the greatest Canadian singer of all time wasn't Joni Mitchell, wasn't Neil Young, wasn't Anne Murray, wasn't Robbie Robertson, wasn't Paul Anka. It was this guy who basically changed the way that the Red Russians looked at Canada and international hockey. Of course, we're going to be talking about Roger Doucet. Now, this story from greatesthockeylegends.com talks about how Roger Doucet wrote the Soviet national anthem, and yes, truth is stranger than fiction. Now, according to the site, hockey fans of a certain vintage will remember Roger Doucet, the legendary Montreal anthem singer of the 1970s. With his unmistakable voice, he was as recognizable as Habs games and Alouette and Expo games too as one of the players. But did you know he wrote the lyrics for the Soviet national anthem? Perhaps the most stirring anthem ever as well. In the summer of '76, Doucet was asked to sing the national anthems at the new Canada Cup tournament. He was familiar with the American and, of course, Canadian anthems, and the Canadian anthems he had jigged with the lyrics to use the words liberty, but needed to learn the songs of the 4 European countries. He eventually contacted the Department of External Affairs and easily got him the lyrics for Sweden, Finland, and Czechoslovakia, but there was a problem with the Soviet Union anthem. There were no words. It seems the original words on the hymn of the Soviet Union were quietly dropped after 1956 because of all the references to dictator Joseph Stalin. Doucet was advised to hum the anthem very loudly. That didn't sit too well with the proud singer. Somehow he unearthed a copy of the Stalinist lyrics. Since he could not speak nor read Russian, he handed it to the Russian department at the University of Montreal and asked them to fix them up. Now, before the Soviet Union and Czechoslovakia game at the Canada Cup, Doucet showed the Soviet team officials the rewritten lyrics. They had no objections, and Doucet sang the all-new hymn of the Soviet Union. With the game being broadcasted back home, the Russian fans must have been shocked to hear the new anthem. However, get this, in 1977, the Soviet Parliament adopted the new lyrics as the official lyrics of the then Russian national anthem. So it just goes to show, ladies and gentlemen, 72 and 74 and 76, we took it, but in 77 we took it back, because in 77 the Russians as an international hockey power were kind of fading a little bit. No joke, and the Czechs were getting stronger, but it was so weird, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody would have thought 5 years before a Canadian, especially a Federalist Quebecer, would write the lyrics or to present the lyrics of a communist country's anthem. And if you listen to the Soviet anthem of that era, and Roger sang it, it was a big part of hockey, and you couldn't have a Russia-Canada game without Roger's version of the anthem. So that's my second podcast with the great Roger Doucet, and we'd like to say thank you, Roger. He's no longer with us, but we do miss him, because every Saturday night, him singing the anthem, we knew the Habs were going to do something, because it lifted up everybody and the players and the opposing teams as well. Roger Doucet, again, one of the greatest singers in Canadian history, bar none. And the fact is, English Canada loved him as much as French Canada. He was a unifier for us all. Thanks for listening. Bye.